Welcome, everybody. My name is Zane Miller. We've got, of course, as always, Frank the Tank Schwartz. Why don't you say hi, Frank?
Hello, all. Hello. How are everybody out there?
And, of course, he needs no introduction, but we have Chris Ramsey here.
Hey, guys. Thank you so much, Zane. Thank you, Frank, for having me. Going to be a whole lot of fun.
The format of the show is basically we want to take some time to just kind of get to know Chris and see how he's doing, see what's going on with life. Then we've got 10 questions we want to hit him. We call it the 10 in 10. And then the last 10 minutes of this 30-minute show is going to be Chris talking about any of his projects that he's working on that he wants to let you guys know more about. So, Frank, why don't we start with you? What's going on with you?
Our affiliate reviews, finding new products, things to work with, people like Chris that are bringing out new stuff that's innovative. I mean, you and I working on creating 7 different products now with different people and
something like that. Something
ridiculous. But no, I'm just really glad that we hooked up with Chris and that.
Sometimes you just see a WSO and you're like, yeah, this is great. It's going to be awesome, and it's kind of not. And of course, we've got all the interviews that we're starting here as well. So moving right along, Chris, how are things going with you? What's new in your life?
One huge thing I've learned with the system is nobody uses it the way I thought they would.
Yeah, I've been through that quite a few times myself. I think one way, and then as I start discussing it and sort of thinking out loud, because I'm very much a verbal processor. So then when I think out loud and I'm explaining it to other people, they go, "Wait, so it's like this?" And then I go, "Well, yeah, actually that's true." And then I have to go back and figure out how else I can change it based on that feedback. So I'm glad the feedback that I gave you was helpful, because I know I was like, hey, and this, and this, and this, and this, and I'm like, well, sorry, I don't want to be that guy.
Hey, Zane, remember we talked about that with that tailgating project I was working on. This guy goes, you've got your game, you've got the way you want to do it, you've got your rules. Now throw it all away, because nobody's ever going to use it that way. They are going to change it no matter what you tell them to do. It's going to have its whole new set of rules. And I went, why? And he goes, it'll just happen. And kid you not, it happens, so I know exactly what you're going through, Chris.
That's just what it is.
The way it's meant.
Yeah.
Intercom. Intercom.io. It's pretty cool.
So yeah, this is the cool intercom.io website.
It's kind of like a email marketing system, except it's not just for email; it's also for in-app communication. But it's really cool. I mean, like they give you the health of your communication with all your different users. You can track all sorts of different things.
Wow!
So like I can see how many sessions you've had on the system. You've had 63 sessions in WebWave. You were last seen 2 minutes ago.
You're definitely going to be using the system, I take it.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Had a phone call about how to use the lights on the car.
How late is it there?
It is 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
No, you always have to answer those questions.
Yeah, sure. I'm going to go ahead and sort of lead the discussion here, and of course, Frank, jump in whenever you think I'm going off the rails a little bit. but I want to shoot some questions at you, Chris, a little bit more, getting to know you kind of things. But we also want to bring in some actual marketing and business kind of stuff. So let's just jump in, and I would like to find out first, what would you see as your biggest success online so far?
Oh man, my biggest success, probably being able to spend like 8 months out of the year out of the country for a while there. I don't travel so much now, but for probably a good 2-3 years. I'd spend 3-4 months at a time just traveling around Mexico, Belize, and Guatemala. And
really? So any other places that you went?
No, that's pretty much it. My wife and I, before we were actually married, backpacked through there a few times.
Interesting.
Close, man. I want to hide my money in Belize.
You'd recommend going?
Oh, absolutely. Belize is amazing. If you're going to actually go down there, I'd recommend actually flying into Cancun and then just busing it down. You're going to spend
Really?
probably $30 on a bus from Cancun all the way down to Belize. Flying into Belize is ridiculously expensive.
Really? Okay. Well, you see, now the other part of this was that I was kind of kicking around the idea of just like going and staying there for a little while and just like renting something or renting a place for just like a couple months, kind of 4-hour work week it up.
Totally worth it, man. I mean, Belize is an incredibly poor country, so you can get stuff really cheaply down there. Not to say it's as cheap as Mexico or especially Guatemala, but it's definitely affordable.
Very cool. Very cool. Okay,
all right. I'm leaving. I just got to check the internet connections.
All right.
You can't use Skype down there at all, so don't expect that.
Can we do live hangouts in Belize?
I don't know. They've got this thing where they don't allow VoIP of any kind, so probably not. Yeah.
Wow.
It's a legal thing. Like they control all the phones, and they've got all sorts of weird things down there. Like they tax rainwater, and everybody collects rainwater, so they tax it.
Okay.
Wow.
All right. Cool. All right.
Yeah.
Good for you guys. First country I've ever heard of that taxes God.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, but whatever.
So okay, so then your biggest success, which is I think it's something that everybody reaches for, is just being able to have that flexibility, that being able to travel the world and kind of do what you want.
Yeah, one of the things people don't realize, though, is it's not as expensive as you think. I mean, we were living on probably $300 or $400 a week, and
Down there.
Yeah, while traveling, staying at places, and we weren't staying at like little shitty out of the way huts. We were staying at hotels the majority of the time.
Shitty out of the way hotels.
Especially when you get into like Guatemala. Like we were staying on this little island. So Guatemala's a big country. It's on the west coast, so they've got a lot of ocean there, but we haven't actually been to that side of it. But like right in the middle of the country, there's a little place called Flores. It's a little island in the middle of this huge lake, and we had a lakeside hotel. Like we stepped out of our room, and there's this huge balcony, and there's a beautiful view of the lake right there. $14 a night.
$14 a night.
Yeah. Or wait, no. Sorry, it was $11 a night. $14 was the more expensive room that we moved to later.
Just very nice, very nice.
Yeah, and you can easily eat a good meal for $2, maybe $3 down there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Can't even get that at McDonald's.
Yeah, that's not even good.
Hey, they do have McDonald's down there. It's not too bad.
But they don't. It's not hamburger meat. You got to think smaller and more legs.
Pretty much.
Okay. Well, then my next question is actually the exact contrast of that is, what would you see as your biggest failure and why?
Well, when I actually read that question, when you sent me the questions over earlier, I was trying to think, what have I really fucked up, And I don't really have anything that I've really messed up on, lost thousands and thousands of dollars. There have been a lot of times where things didn't go as planned, like I'd have a launch and it wouldn't do well at all, stuff like that. But I don't know if I'd really qualify those as failures, because every time I was able to come up with something new and, able to change that the next time around. So, I guess that's as close to a big failure as I'm going to have. But it's kind of cliche, but they're all learning experiences.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, and I saw this last night on Facebook, was a whole discussion with some of the JV groups. Was somebody said, is it a failure? Why do people stop before they get to success? And it's like everybody's like, well, you have that thought and you quit, and you're right there you're on the verge of that. And I think that mindset where you say it's not a failure, it's an opportunity to find out how it didn't work and fix it and next time or relaunch or that's a big mindset, I think, that a lot of people are afraid to take.
Definitely.
What is your least favorite marketing cliche.
I've got the same answer to the least favorite and most favorite, or whatever.
But okay, well
then you're gonna crush it with this one, aren't you?
Yeah, we'll bring. I'll bring up the next one. It'll be well fit. So yeah, lay it on. So your favorite and your least favorite marketing cliche.
It's got to be the money is in the list. Everybody says it, and it's so annoying, but it is so true at the same time. Problem is, nobody really knows what they're talking about when they say the money's in the list. Like when I first started hearing that, I was like, awesome, okay, well then I need to start building a list. But it was a long time before I actually started making money from that list. I mean, if you have no idea what you're doing, a list isn't going to be worth anything. I mean, if you're just going to spam them to death with CPA offers and stuff like that, then what's the purpose of having a list? You might make $5 here or there, but that's not what we're after. We're after making hundreds or even thousands of dollars. $5 is going to do what,
Right.
Buy McDonald's.
Yeah, off the dollar menu.
Yeah.
I was going to say, you haven't been to Glendale lately, buddy. You can't go to McDonald's for that.
So your favorite and least favorite marketing cliche is the money's in the list. The money's in the list because I totally agree. There's a lot of people who don't understand, and they like to throw around the statistic of every person on your list is worth $1 per month, and well, like you said, if you don't know what you're doing with the list, it's most definitely not worth $1 per month.
Yeah, definitely. And the thing is, it's not really even that hard to run your list. I mean, if you send them some decent content now and then, and find good ways to tie offers into stories or things like that, it's really not that difficult. You just have to be a personality. You can't just be, look at what I found. Here's some hype about how awesome it is.
Yeah. Well, everybody loves hype, right?
Does that mean do you use swipe copy every time you mail out?
God, no. Like I'll look at it for kind of hooks and things like that, but I'll never send an email out that's exactly swiped. No.
Yeah, Zane and I have talked about that. So yeah, I've gone back and forth and said, "Wow, I just got 42 emails that all said the same thing."
Yep.
From different people.
Yeah, I mean, just the nature of the beast is we're all on so many different marketers' lists. If somebody, I don't even put swipes out for my launches because, I know that people are going to they're just going to take it and send it as is, and I don't want that. I want my affiliates to do a little bit of work for their money.
Yeah, come on, put some effort into it. Well, and also, like you were saying, I mean, we're all a part of so many marketers' lists that you have to bring that personality, and that's like one of the big reasons that drove Frank and I to creating this show and our reviews here was that it's time to start adding more value than just, hey, here's an email and someone else's swipe copy.
Definitely.
Now with the whole email stuff in mind, my next question, and this is one of Frank's favorites, and I gotta say, it's growing on me. What's your favorite curse word?
I was thinking about that. I was originally going to say it's fuck because it's so powerful and it evokes a strong emotion. But looking back at what I use the most, probably shit. Just because I use that all the time.
Do you seem to swear more when you're alone programming, or?
Oh man, I swear all the time while I'm programming. I sit here and I'm like, fuck. That is not how that goes. like earlier, Zane messaged me before, like a couple hours ago, and asked about the session times for WebbyWave, and I was like, cool, give me 5 minutes, I'll get this fixed up, whatever. So I got it fixed up, and then he sends me another message. He's like, dude, I can't log in. I was like, fuck, because I had an exclamation point where it did not belong.
Oh, God. See, I do that with sentences, so I know what you feel like.
Yeah, it's so crazy. Like, I love programming to death, but it's ridiculous how one little thing can take down an entire system.
Oh.
It is the most unstable thing ever.
The first question of this two-part is, what's one thing that you would tell a new online marketer to start doing?
Let's go right back to the cliche thing. Start building your list. Start learning how to communicate with these people. It's going to be a lot of trial and error. You can read as many not interviews. Read. You can read as many ebooks. You can watch as many interviews. You can, hire the best coaching consultants or whatever you want. But the only way you're going to actually learn this stuff is by trial and error. So start building your list and go from there.
Do you have any recommendations of? Personally, I always use YouTube as a way to generate opt-ins and grow my list.
For somebody who's just starting, YouTube is definitely one of the best ways. I mean, you can get videos ranked on page 1 for almost anything. I've got a product that I sell entirely through YouTube videos that got ranked on Google, and that is literally the only traffic source I get. So, I've got a list building.
Tell us what that is?
Yeah, the Easy Lead Finder. It's theeasyleadfinder.com.
Sweet.
All right. So then, in contrast, what's the one thing that you would tell an experienced marketer to stop doing? Well,
if I were going to tell myself something, it would probably be stop jumping around to so many different things and focus.
Right. No, I think every single one of us here can relate to that. I'd like to know, what other profession would you be doing if you weren't an internet marketer right now? And I think I already know the answer to this, but I'll let you.
Yeah, you probably do. I would absolutely be a game developer or some sort of game creator. I am a huge gamer at heart. I've been playing Fallout New Vegas nonstop for the last few weeks.
I thought your response would be that you'd be a programmer, because that's what you are.
Oh, yeah.
But game developer, even better. That's. So the last question before we move on to that is that we heard what you might be doing if you weren't doing this. What other profession would you want to attempt were you not an internet marketer?
I think I would like to attempt something with animals. I'm a hardcore animal guy.
Yeah.
And for like my entire childhood, my parents thought I was going to go be a vet. So I think something like that.
Well, right on. So, okay, well, now that we're getting into the last 10 minutes of this show, we want to give Chris the opportunity to explain to you what he's got going on and what kind of things that he's doing to help you and your business grow, and the whole point of this interview in the first place. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the time over to Chris to give you some more details on what he's working on.
Cool. All right, well, I'm actually going to keep this really short because I don't want this to be, like a big, long 10-minute pitch kind of thing. Right. So why don't I just tell you what I've been up to and why I think it's going to help so many people. Okay, so obviously, as you can see from my thing here, webbywave.com is my main focus at the moment. And basically what we've done is we've taken webinars and kind of turned them on their head. If you look at the marketing for literally any of the other webinar services out there, it's all about putting on meetings, corporate stuff, talking to your employees, whatever. And that is not what you and I do with webinars. You and I use them to sell stuff. And there's a lot of reasons why, meeting rooms like GoToWebinar and Meeting Burner, any meeting, stuff like that. There's a lot of reasons why they aren't built for sales. There's a lot of barriers to entry. There's no, you can't really do real scarcity on a webinar, stuff like that. It's just really, really hard to do. I mean, people are using these platforms to sell really, really well, but I think it could be done even better. Not to mention, a lot of them are incredibly hard to use, like GoToWebinar, for instance. Their recording features, crazy to use. It's nuts.
No,
I've been talking to people so much lately, like their customers, and it is nuts how upset people get because their recordings never work, or they have to go buy some expensive converter to take their WMV file and turn it into another WMV file before they can even upload it to YouTube.
Yeah, no, I've been down that road many times. Not to mention the fact that sometimes it just doesn't record. In fact, half the time when I was using GoToWebinar, and even at the lower price, $79 a month, I mean, that was the expensive plan, and now that's jumped to $500, and that's when I threw up my hands up like, nope, not going to do this anymore. Especially if the software is supposed to do something and then it doesn't do it at all. Exactly. And there's not even an apology or anything. It's just like, nope, didn't work. That's it. You're screwed. And there's no one else. There's just no one else.
Yeah, I know what you mean. That's exactly what I keep hearing from people, and it's just like a huge wide open place in the market right now, and I've tried to build something that has been incredibly easy for people to use.
So, and that's the focus of WebbyWave, right?
Yeah, build a system that's meant for sales and is incredibly easy to use. That's the entire goal.
Now, are there? Sorry,
I was going to say, what makes it so built for sales?
Okay, well, for instance,
softball question for you.
Yeah, there you go. Well, for instance, we don't just have everything in a single little video window. We have it on a live sales page that you can control via our little control panel. So, for instance, like when you use GoToWebinar or one of those other alternatives, when it's time for people to go actually purchase whatever you're selling, they have to actually go and type in the address to actually go and visit the page. However, with WebbyWave, you can actually insert your own buy button, call to action, and all that kind of stuff into the system so that whenever you're ready for it to show up, you click a button, the viewer's screen will actually scroll down and show up or show the call to action live right then. So it's kind of like a delayed call to action on a video sales letter, except you get to make it show up anytime that you want. So if I were to say, all right, go to webbywave.com right now to buy this on a normal webinar, I wouldn't have to do that with WebbyWave. I could just hit a button. It would force people's windows to scroll down to see the call to action, and so they can just click it right there and go straight to the payment page.
So can I ask you questions, or Zane, are you running the show and I should shut up?
No. By all means, Ronnie. That's why we got you here.
All right, brand new question for you, Chris. If you're still hearing me, I'm assuming you are.
Yeah, I'm here.
Talk to the chair. You're going to do a Clint Eastwood.
Talk to the chair, yo.
Okay, so these might be ideas because I don't know your product that well that you might already have covered, and if you have, great. If not, maybe it's something to think of in the future. Is this button that says buy here, buy now, is this something that can be turned on mid-show? In other words, I'm doing my show and I say, okay, I'm going to turn this on just for 10 minutes in case you're interested, and then it's going off. Can I hit something that makes it show and then it disappears, or is this something that's sort of built ahead of time?
Well, it's actually built ahead of time, but it's not. It doesn't show up until you tell it to. I'm currently working on a scarcity feature where it works on a timer, or you can hide it, whenever you're ready.
Translate scarcity for me.
What is that?
Translate scarcity for me.
So basically, you've either got a certain number that you want to sell, or it's only going to be available for the next 15 minutes. After that, we're going to go and, it's just going to disappear, whatever. And you can set that up beforehand.
Okay.
That's not, like I said, that's not built in yet, but it should be by the end of next week.
Okay, so that's what I was asking for. I just didn't know the right term. Scarcity.
Cool. Yeah, there you go.
So, and that's built into the page that's also showing the video, right? So It's all in one place.
Exactly. So imagine you've got the video player, where you've got the live stuff happening, you've got somebody demoing some software or whatever it happens to be. And then you're like, okay, so it costs this much money, and if you guys are ready for it, here you go. You click the button, it'll show up underneath the video, and it'll automatically scroll the user's window down to view that.
Okay, and that brings them to a payment system, or what does it bring them to?
It can bring them to whatever you want. Like, you can put an opt-in form in your call to action. You can put a buy now button. You can put a picture of Mother Mary if you'd like. Whatever you want.
And that's all on this page, or is that sort of then jump them onto a different? Okay.
It depends on how you want to do it. I mean, so the way I generally do it is I'll have a headline and then my buy now button, and I click the button and then it'll show that. And then when they click the buy button, they takes them over to PayPal or whatever payment system happens to be used, rather than them having to type it in, go view the summary page of whatever the product is, and then having to click another button and then go in and pay. So we take out an entire huge step out of the process.
So do you think it's possible at some point to keep this all visible and inside like an iframe or inside your page so that the video doesn't go away?
You can totally do that now if you wanted to. I mean,
there's a HTML editor in that built-in call to action?
Yeah. So you can either write HTML yourself to make it look however you want and act however you want. I mean, you could even add JavaScript in there if you wanted to. But
so if you're nerdy enough in coding, you could keep somebody on the page even though they're making a payment on PayPal. They're still seeing the video, and you can still be walking them through it while they're pressing the button.
You could do that.
Exactly.
Okay, so then another question. That's on the back end, meaning you've made this. You're doing your call to action, your scarcity, you're making the cha-ching. Okay, it's working for you money wise. What about getting people to sign up ahead of time? In other words, how are you managing this process, or is that done elsewhere for the?
No, it's all done inside of WebbyWave. It's all self-hosted. We've got a custom-created registration page. You can add all sorts of your own information to it. It's very customizable. You can put a video on there if you want. You can put, again, a picture of Mother Mary. You can put whatever you want. The same editor that we use for the call to action is the same editor we use for the registration page, so it can look however you want. And we're actually working on building it into Aweber and GetResponse. So if you have either of those, or ideally, we're going to have it set up to where you can use any opt-in form, but those are the two we're going for first. So when people opt in to watch the webinar, then they'll also be opted into your email list.
Okay, then one last
Optionally,
question.
of course. If you don't want to do that, that's fine.
Yeah. One last question, or one more question. There's never, ever a last question, right? So is it possible with your system, the way it is now, to pay to watch? In other words, sign up, pay your money, and then you get to watch the show live.
No, but that is a very good idea. You're actually the very first person to ask about that. And I know there's a few other options out there that do that, so I think that's something we should look into.
Well, I think it can be something that can be implemented even now. I mean, I would recommend, if this is something that is worth programming into WebbyWave, then most definitely. But I would see it as a way that like WebbyWave can be used as the sales platform, yes, but it can also be used as the delivery platform, since from what I've seen in my experience of WebbyWave and Hangouts and whatnot, you have a certain amount of anonymity when you first start out, and I think even if you do get more popular and everybody knows about your channel or what you're doing, you could just launch from kind of an obscure YouTube channel or something like that, a Hangout that no one knows about.
Or you could even use it, or you could set your default status to unlisted for videos, and that would work.
Yeah, well, that's after the once it's finished recording, though. I mean, you could.
Oh, okay, all right.
So you could do the sales presentation, then also do the live presentation,
right,
and just limit the amount of people who would be able to get access to the live show. And like you said, once it's recorded, then it could be made unlisted, or just like YouTube has the feature that you can literally download the video once it's finished. So there's flexibility there, right, but I'd be really interested to see what kind of structure you put to it.
Sorry, I missed that, but I think I'm very interested in what you were talking about. Right now, Hangouts on Air are live to the public, and there's nothing you can do about that. I'm trying to get YouTube, Google Plus, whatever you want to call them, to change that so it's in an environment that's more limited in who can see it, but that's the way it is right now. So were you guys talking about a way to sort of make this scarce? In other words, make the payable thing that you're trying to get people to come watch not public?
Not so much not public, Ronnie, but being so hidden.
So hard to find?
Like a page of small elephant cancer research through sperm whale bone marrow transplants.
Because I'll find it.
Well, somebody's going to find it, but it's
not
just
that many. Right.
So ridiculous that that you're not going to just accidentally fall into.
Okay, because the real driving thing behind this, the guts behind it, is still a Hangout on Air.
Yes.
Okay. So to me, the ability to sign up ahead of time, like for example, if my content of what we're doing in the show is what I'm selling, then I'm going to want to charge the money up front. I'm not necessarily following it up with a buy my list of great posts and stuff like that, even though that may be coming. But the idea that this show is what I want to sell is something that's very important to me, and I know literally thousands of other people that are also interested in that. So, Chris, you come up with something like that, you got a winner, and especially if it ties into a method where you can... I don't know what you know about Google Plus, but there's a tool in there called Google Plus Events, and it's actually a very good tool. Offline, and I can tell you the most compelling parts about the event tool that you can decide to work with or not. Okay,
yeah, Frank,
sorry. There
Frank,
you go.
you'll have to connect Ronnie and I after this.
Absolutely, absolutely, love it.
Yeah, and of course, folks, be ready to see more of Ronnie because again, as we connected, I was like, I have no idea how Google Plus works and these Hangouts, and Ronnie was very, very cool and has just been an awesome guy helping me out. So definitely be expecting more from him. I'll be talking more about him later, but we're starting to wind down. I think actually wind beyond what we were already doing, but still. But we'll fix it in post, right? So,
Yes, always.
I want to say thank you to everybody who has shown up here. Thank you very much, Chris, for letting us come and ask you a bunch of random silly questions and telling us about your awesome products. Of course, also Frank, thank you for being here, being the delightful co-host, and as well as Ronnie, thank you for being here and helping us with your advice with Google Plus and Hangouts, despite the fact that Google Plus is kind of having a few brain farts here. So now, before we go, I don't have any other questions for Chris, Frank, Ronnie. Do you have any more before we wrap up and head out?
Chris, I didn't watch the whole show, but I do want to give you a round of applause here.
Thank you.
All right.
No, listen, my man. I've got a lot of editing I've got to do for this because I'm gonna edit out all of me.
Thank you very much, Chris, Frank, Ronnie. We'll see you all later.
Thanks, Chris.
Yeah.